Hello, everyone. Welcome to the English Globe. I hope you all are well and feeling good today. My name is Adam, and I'm here again with my friend Julia. This is a very special and helpful episode of our English learning podcast. Today, we are going to talk about something that is very important in our lives. It's something that helps us live better, speak better, feel better, and even spend money better. Today, we will talk about self-control.
Hi everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Julia, and I'm happy to be here with you. I hope you're ready to learn something new and interesting. In this podcast episode, we will talk about 4 big parts of self-control. We call them the 4 pillars of self-control. A pillar means something strong that holds up a building. So these 4 things help us build a better life. They are mouth, mind, mood, and money. These are 4 important areas where we all need self-control.
Yes, that's right. But before we talk about each pillar, let's first talk about what self-control means. We will explain it in very simple English so that everyone, even beginner students, can understand. Self-control means stopping yourself from doing something wrong or bad, even if you feel like doing it. It also means doing the right thing, even when it is hard. For example, if I feel angry, self-control helps me stay calm and not shout. If I see cake, but I am on a diet, self-control helps me say no to the cake. Do you understand? It's about thinking first and not just doing what we feel.
Exactly. Self-control is like a power inside us. It helps us stay strong when we want to say something mean, or when we want to buy something we don't need, or when we feel sad or angry. It helps us choose what is good for us, not just what we want right now. And it's not always easy, right? But the good news is that we can practice self-control every day. Just like we practice English, we can also practice self-control. And with time, we can get better at it.
That's so true. So today, we are going to talk about the 4 main areas where we can practice self-control. These are things we all do every day. We speak, we think, we feel, and we use money. If we can learn how to control these 4 things, we will become stronger, happier, and more successful in life. And we will also become better English learners, because self-control helps us stay focused and not give up.
So, let me tell you a little bit more about these 4 pillars. The first one is the mouth. This means how we speak and also what we eat. Sometimes we say something without thinking, and it can hurt someone. Sometimes we eat too much junk food and feel bad later. Self-control with our mouth helps us speak with kindness and eat with care. The second one is the mind. Our mind is full of thoughts. Some thoughts help us. Some thoughts make us worry or feel afraid. With self-control, we can choose better thoughts. We can think more positively and stay focused on our goals. The third pillar is the mood. Our mood is how we feel. Happy, sad, angry, calm. These are all moods. Self-control helps us to not let our mood control our actions. For example, even when I feel sad, I can still choose to smile or be kind to others. And the last one is money. Many people spend money without thinking. They buy things they don't need, and later they feel stress or worry. Self-control helps us save money, plan better, and live simply.
These 4 areas are like different rooms in our house. If we keep all of them clean and strong, our life becomes better. And don't worry, we will explain everything step by step. We will use easy words and slow speech, so even if you are a beginner, you can follow along and understand.
Yes, and we will also teach you new words and phrases. So please listen carefully. You can even take notes if you like. And remember, this is not just an English lesson. This is a life lesson too. These ideas will help you in your daily life, in your school or job, and in your relationships with people.
Before we move on, let's talk for a moment about why self-control is so important today. In the modern world, we have so many choices. We have phones, TV, games, food, shopping. Everything is fast and easy. But too many choices can make it hard to focus. That's why self-control is like a shield. It protects us from making bad choices. It helps us stay strong and not waste time or money.
That's so true. Without self-control, we might say things we don't mean, waste money, eat badly, or get too emotional. But with self-control, we feel more calm and in control. And guess what? People who have good self-control usually do better in life. They study better, work better, and have better relationships. So this is something we all need to learn, no matter how old we are.
So, friends, in today's podcast, we will explore each pillar in detail. We will start with the mouth, then move on to the mind, the mood, and finally, money. For each one, we will give examples, speak slowly, and teach you useful English words and phrases. We hope you will enjoy learning with us.
And remember, don't worry if you don't understand everything the first time. You can always listen again. You can pause the podcast, repeat the parts you like, and practice speaking with us. That's how you will improve your English. And that's how you will build self-control. By practicing again and again.
So are you ready? Let's begin our journey through the 4 pillars of self-control. Our first stop is the mouth, how we speak and what we eat. This is something we all do every day, and there's a lot to learn. So stay with us, keep listening, and let's learn together.
Yes, let's get started. And remember, learning English is not just about words. It's about ideas, stories, and better living. So take a deep breath, smile, and enjoy this podcast with us. Let's grow together in English and in life.
All right, welcome back, everyone, and thank you for staying with us. Now we are going to begin talking about the first pillar of self-control, which is the mouth. And when we say mouth, we are not just talking about the physical part of the body, but also about everything that we do with it, including the way we speak to others, the way we express our feelings, and also the way we choose to eat and drink. Because all of these actions, when done with care and control, can lead to a better and more successful life. And when done without thinking, they can cause problems for us and for others as well.
That's exactly right, Adam. And if we take a moment to think about how many times we use our mouth every single day, whether we are saying good morning to our family, asking for help in school, ordering food at a restaurant, laughing with our friends, or even just talking to ourselves when we are thinking out loud, we can see that our mouth is a tool that we use all the time. And because we use it so much, we really need to learn how to control it so that the words we say are kind, helpful, and thoughtful, and the food we eat is healthy and gives us energy, not problems.
Sometimes people don't realize that the words we speak can be just as powerful as actions, and that when we say something rude, angry, or negative, we can hurt someone deeply even if we didn't mean to. Which is why having self-control over our mouth means that we think carefully before we speak, that we ask ourselves simple but important questions like, is this helpful? Is this respectful? And is this the right time to say this? And when we stop for just 1 second to ask ourselves those questions, we can avoid saying things that we might regret later. And instead, we can become people who spread peace, not problems.
Yes. And one of the best ways to practice self-control in speaking is to remember that listening is just as important as talking. Because when we take the time to really listen to someone, not just hear their words, but truly understand what they are saying, we become better friends, better students, and better people. And we also avoid the mistake of talking too much or interrupting others, which can make people feel disrespected or ignored. And that's something we never want to do if we are trying to build good relationships and strong communication skills.
Now let's talk about another part of the mouth, which is eating. And even though eating is something that gives us joy and energy, it can also become a problem when we do it without control. Because if we always eat too much junk food, or if we eat when we are not hungry just because we are bored or feeling emotional, we can damage our health and feel tired or sick. And over time, this can lead to bigger problems like obesity, diabetes, or low energy. Which is why practicing self-control with food means choosing what is good for our body, even if it's not always what we feel like eating at the moment.
And it's important to understand that self-control with food does not mean we can never eat cake or ice cream or snacks. Of course we can enjoy those things sometimes. But it means we know how to say no when we have already eaten enough. It means we think about balance and nutrition, and it means we take care of our body because our body is the home we live in every day. And if we take care of it, we feel better, learn better, and live better, which is something every English learner and every person can benefit from.
When we talk about controlling our mouth, whether in speaking or eating, it's not just about saying no to bad things. It's also about choosing good things on purpose, like speaking words of encouragement to a friend, saying thank you more often, using polite words like please and excuse me, and choosing to eat fruits, vegetables, and healthy meals that help our brain and body work better. Because when we make good choices again and again, those choices become habits, and those habits build a strong and healthy life.
One simple idea that I like to follow is this. Before you speak, let your words pass through 3 gates. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? And if the words don't pass through all 3 gates, maybe it's better to stay quiet. And I think this is a beautiful and powerful way to think about our speech, because it reminds us that silence is sometimes the best choice. And kind, true, and helpful words are always better than speaking just to be loud or right. And that is real self-control.
So now, let's imagine a short story, something simple but easy to remember. Let's say there is a boy named Sam, and one day his friend makes a mistake and drops water on Sam's homework, and Sam feels angry and wants to shout at his friend. But instead of speaking right away, Sam takes a deep breath, counts to 3 in his mind, and then says, "It's okay. I know it was an accident. Let's clean it up together." And because of this self-control, Sam doesn't hurt his friend's feelings, and he keeps the friendship strong. And this simple moment shows how powerful self-control of the mouth can be in real life.
That's a great example. And I also want to remind our listeners that learning how to control your mouth is not something that happens in one day. It takes time, practice, and patience, just like learning a new language. But the more we practice thinking before we speak, the more we practice eating wisely and slowly, the more natural it becomes. And over time, we become people who are respected by others because of our calm voice and kind words. And we also become people who feel proud of ourselves because we made smart, healthy choices with what we eat and how we speak.
Now let's quickly review a few important English words and phrases we used in this section, just to help our beginner learners grow their vocabulary. First, we talked about self-control, which means stopping yourself from doing something wrong and choosing the better way, even when it's hard. We used the word regret, which means to feel sorry about something you did or said. We also said nutrition, which is the good value that healthy food gives to your body. And we used phrases like, think before you speak, and you are what you eat, which are easy to remember and useful in daily life.
Yes, and if you want to practice speaking, you can repeat after us. Let's try together. Think before you speak. Pause. Now let's say, you are what you eat. Pause. Great job. Practicing simple sentences like this will help you improve your English speaking and pronunciation. And at the same time, you are also learning life lessons that will help you grow as a person. So it's like learning 2 important things at the same time.
All right, friends, that was the first pillar of self-control, the mouth. And we hope that now you understand why it's important to control what we say and what we eat, because these 2 things affect our health, our relationships, and our future. And by choosing kind words and healthy food, we make our life stronger and better every day.
Thank you for listening to this part. We're proud of you for staying focused and learning with us. And in the next part of this podcast, we are going to talk about the second pillar of self-control, which is the mind. And this will be a deep and helpful conversation about our thoughts, focus, and mental habits. So don't go anywhere, take a short break if you need to, and come back ready to learn even more.
Now that we have explored the first pillar of self-control, which is the mouth, and we have learned how important it is to speak with kindness and eat with wisdom, it's time to move on to something even more powerful, something that controls everything else in our life, and that is our mind, because the mind is where all our thoughts are born, where we decide what to say and what to do, and even though it is something we cannot see with our eyes, it is always working inside us from the moment we wake up in the morning until the moment we fall asleep at night. And that is why it is so important to learn how to take care of our thoughts, how to focus on good things, and how to stop the bad thoughts that make us feel weak, sad, angry, or lost, because everything begins with the way we think.
Yes, and when we talk about self-control of the mind, we are not talking about being a robot or trying to remove all emotions, but we are talking about something much more real and human. We are talking about learning how to recognize our thoughts, understand where they come from, and decide which thoughts to follow and which thoughts to let go of. Because our thoughts can either lift us up or pull us down, they can give us power or take our power away. And that's why it is so important to pay attention to our inner voice, that small voice in our head that tells us what to do. And if we practice choosing positive thoughts, calm thoughts, and helpful thoughts again and again, we will start to feel more peace inside and more strength in everything we do.
Sometimes people think that their thoughts are just automatic and they have no control over them. But the truth is that we do have a choice, because we can learn to notice when our thoughts are negative. Like when we say to ourselves, "I'm not good enough," or "I always make mistakes," or "nothing ever works out for me." And we can practice replacing those thoughts with new, more helpful thoughts like, "I'm learning and growing every day," or "It's okay to make mistakes because that's how we learn," or "I believe in myself and I won't give up." And this small change in thinking can create a big change in how we feel, how we act, and how we live. Because when we control our thoughts, we control our direction in life.
That's so true, Adam. And I want to share a very simple idea that has helped many people. It's the idea that your mind is like a garden, and every thought is like a seed. So if you plant seeds of fear, worry, or anger, you will grow a garden full of stress and sadness. But if you plant seeds of hope, courage, and kindness, you will grow a garden that is full of peace, strength, and beauty. And just like a real garden, you need to take care of it every day. You need to pull out the weeds of negative thinking. You need to give your mind good food through reading, learning, and positive conversation. And you need to protect it from things that make it weak, like too much gossip, scary news, or toxic people who bring you down. And when you do that, your mind becomes a strong and beautiful place where success can grow.
Another part of mental self-control is learning how to focus. And this is something that many people struggle with today, especially because we are surrounded by phones, social media, advertisements, noise, and distractions everywhere we go. But when we practice training our mind to focus on one task at a time, to avoid looking at our phone every 2 minutes, to stop jumping from one thought to another without finishing anything, we start to build the kind of mental strength that helps us study better, work better, and enjoy life more. Because when your mind is always jumping around, it becomes tired and confused. But when your mind learns to slow down, breathe, and stay with one thing at a time, it becomes sharp, clear, and powerful. And just like lifting weights builds muscle in the body, doing one task with focus builds strength in the mind.
Yes. And a great way to practice this kind of mental self-control is by starting your day with a few minutes of quiet time. This could be meditation, deep breathing, writing in a journal, or even just sitting still and thinking about what you want your day to look like. And in those quiet moments, you can prepare your mind for success by choosing your focus, by deciding which thoughts you want to keep and which thoughts you want to ignore, and by filling your mind with motivation, love, and gratitude. Because starting your day with a strong and clear mind is like giving your brain a fresh, clean desk to work on. And that simple habit can make a huge difference in how you handle the rest of your day, especially when problems or surprises come your way.
Another part of controlling the mind is learning how to handle stress, because stress is something we all face. It could be school stress, family problems, money worries, health issues, or just feeling too busy or too tired. And while we cannot always stop stress from coming, we can learn how to respond to it in a better way, and that starts with calming our mind, speaking kindly to ourselves, taking deep breaths, talking to someone we trust, and reminding ourselves that we are strong enough to handle this moment and it won't last forever. And when we learn to control our reaction to stress, we discover that even in difficult times, we can stay peaceful and wise inside. And that is one of the greatest powers a person can have.
I also want to remind everyone that controlling your mind doesn't mean you will never have a bad day or a bad thought. It just means you won't let those things control you anymore, because now you have tools and ideas that can help you stop, breathe, think again, and make better choices. And over time, the more you practice noticing your thoughts, choosing better ones, and focusing your attention, the stronger your mental habits will become, and the more peace, confidence, and success you will feel in your daily life. And that's a beautiful thing that every person deserves to experience, no matter where they come from or what level of English they are learning at.
Let's also take a moment to learn some useful English words and phrases that we used in this section to help you with your vocabulary. We used the word focus, which means to give all your attention to one thing. The word distraction, which is something that pulls your attention away. The word stress, which is the feeling of being worried or under pressure. And we used helpful phrases like, your mind is like a garden, and take care of your thoughts, which are easy to remember and full of meaning. So try repeating them slowly after us to practice your speaking.
All right, everyone, repeat after me. Your mind is like a garden. Take care of your thoughts. Great job. These small sentences are not just good English practice. They are also big ideas that can guide your life and help you build the habit of mental self-control every day. So be proud of yourself for listening and learning with us. Because every word you hear and every idea you understand brings you one step closer to becoming the best version of yourself.
So now we have finished our second pillar of self-control, the mind. And we hope that you now understand how your thoughts affect your words, your choices, and your emotions, and that with practice, you can take back control of your thinking and make your mind your friend, not your enemy. And in the next part of our podcast, we are going to talk about the third pillar of self-control, which is the mood, and we'll explore how to control your emotions, stay calm, and build inner peace. So take a short break, grab a glass of water, and come back ready for more powerful learning. All right, everyone. Now we're going to talk about the third pillar of self-control, which is your mood. And this one is so important because your mood can change your day, your words, your actions, and even your relationships. And the truth is, many people do not even realize how much their mood controls them. But when you learn how to control your mood instead of letting your mood control you, that's when your life starts to change in amazing ways, because being in a good mood helps you stay calm, speak kindly, and make better choices. But being in a bad mood can make everything feel more difficult. You get angry faster, you feel more negative, and you push people away without meaning to. And that's why learning how to manage your emotions is one of the most powerful skills a human being can have in today's world, where life moves fast and problems can happen at any time.
When we say control your mood, we are not saying that you should always feel happy or that you should never feel sad, because emotions are a natural part of life, and every person, no matter how strong or successful, goes through moments of sadness, anger, fear, or confusion. But the real difference between a strong person and a weak one is not about never having those feelings. It's about how you handle them, and whether you allow those emotions to take over your thoughts and actions or not. So emotional self-control means that even when you feel upset or disappointed, you still choose to speak with kindness, you still act with patience, and you don't let your temporary feelings destroy your permanent peace, because emotions are like the weather. They come and go, but you are the sky, and the sky always stays, no matter how many storms pass through it.
Let me give you an example that might help you understand this idea better. Imagine you wake up in the morning and you're feeling tired. Maybe you didn't sleep well or you're thinking about a problem in your life, and then someone in your house says something that annoys you, and suddenly you feel angry or sad. And without thinking, you speak in a rude voice or slam the door or say something hurtful. And the rest of your day becomes full of negative energy because your mood was not in your control. But now imagine a different version of that same morning. You still feel tired and annoyed, but you take a deep breath. You say to yourself, "I'm feeling upset, but I won't let it control me." And you speak calmly. Take a few minutes to breathe or stretch, and then continue your day with peace and strength. And that small moment of self-control changes everything. It protects your relationships, your peace, and your future from being harmed by one small emotion.
And this is why we always say that emotional strength is not about hiding your feelings. It's about being aware of them and choosing how to respond. And the good news is, just like with your body or your mind, you can train your mood every day by practicing certain habits, such as taking slow, deep breaths when you feel angry, writing your feelings in a notebook instead of shouting them out, walking away from situations that make you lose control, or talking to someone who listens and understands you instead of keeping everything inside. Because when you make these emotional habits part of your daily life, your mood becomes more balanced, your reactions become wiser, and your energy becomes more positive, which helps you not only feel better, but also build stronger relationships with the people around you. Your friends, your family, your teachers, your co-workers. Because no one wants to be near someone who is always in a bad mood, but everyone is drawn to a calm, kind, and emotionally strong person.
Another powerful idea is that your mood is often connected to the things you think about. So if you spend most of your time thinking about problems, mistakes, or negative people, it's very easy for your mood to go down and for your heart to feel heavy. But if you choose to think about what you are grateful for, like your health, your friends, your goals, your small daily wins, then your mood will naturally become lighter, and you'll feel more hopeful and happy without needing anything from outside. And one great exercise to help with this is called the 3 gratitude things. Every morning or every night, you simply write or say out loud 3 small things that you are thankful for, and they can be as simple as, "I'm thankful for clean water," or "I'm thankful for my warm bed," or "I'm thankful for the chance to learn English today." And doing this again and again will train your mind to look for the good, and your mood will follow the light just like a flower follows the sun.
I love that idea, Adam, because gratitude is like sunshine for the heart, and the more you practice it, the more it changes the way you feel and the way you live. And here's another tip for emotional self-control. Be careful about the kind of content you watch, read, and listen to, because the information you take in through your phone, your TV, your music, and even your conversations with people, all of that becomes the food for your emotions. So, if you are always watching violent movies, negative news, or gossip about others, your mood will feel heavy, angry, or afraid. But if you start watching motivational videos, listening to soft music, learning new things, and spending time with kind people, your emotions will feel lighter, happier, and more peaceful. And that's why your environment, both your physical space and your digital space, plays a big role in how your mood develops. And when you take control of your environment, you begin to take control of your emotions too.
Before we end this section, I want to share a very helpful sentence that you can repeat to yourself anytime your mood feels low or your emotions feel too strong. And the sentence is this: I am not my mood. I am more than my feelings. I can choose peace. And this sentence is simple but powerful because it reminds you that your emotions are not who you are. They are just passing experiences like waves on the ocean, and you always have the power to pause, breathe, and decide how you want to respond. And if you can remember this sentence during difficult moments, it will give you the strength to stay calm, the wisdom to stay kind, and the courage to stay true to your best self, even when life feels hard. And that's the real meaning of self-control when it comes to the third pillar, your mood.
Let's practice some useful English words and expressions that we used in this section to help you build your vocabulary while also learning these deep ideas. We talked about the word emotion, which means the feeling in your heart, like happiness or sadness. The word reaction, which is what you do after something happens. The word gratitude, which means feeling thankful. And the phrase, "you are not your mood," which is a beautiful way to remember that you have control over how you feel and act. So say it slowly with us now. I am not my mood. I can choose peace. One more time. I am not my mood. I can choose peace. Excellent work, everyone.
That's the end of Pillar 3, Mood. And we hope you are now starting to feel the power that comes from understanding and managing your emotions, because this power can help you in every part of life, from school to family, from work to friendships. And when you control your mood, you also create more space for love, peace, and success in your life. And now we are ready to move on to the fourth and final pillar of self-control. And this one is very important in today's world. It is money. And we're going to talk about how controlling your spending, saving, and financial habits is not just about being rich or poor, but about being free and wise in the way you live your life. Now let's talk about the fourth and final pillar of self-control, which is money. And this one is very important because many people, especially young people, often do not learn how to manage their money until it becomes a big problem in their life. But the truth is that if you learn to control your money while you are still young, you can avoid stress, avoid debt, and build a life that gives you freedom and choices instead of pressure and fear. Because money is not just about how much you have in your wallet or your bank account. Money is also about your habits, your decisions, and your understanding of value. And when you learn to control your spending, your saving, and your financial behavior, you are not just controlling numbers, you are controlling your future, your peace of mind, and your ability to take care of yourself and the people you love. And that is why this pillar is just as powerful as the other three.
I think one of the first things people need to understand about money is that self-control with money means saying no to something now so you can say yes to something bigger later. And that's what we call delayed gratification, which is the ability to wait for something better instead of taking something small and easy right now. And this is a skill that can help you in many parts of life. But it's especially powerful with money. Because when you choose to spend all your money the moment you get it, on fast food, clothes, entertainment, or things you don't really need, then your money disappears fast. And when a real emergency or opportunity comes, you have nothing left to help you. But if you train yourself to save even a little every time and to think carefully before you spend, then you are building not just savings, but also strength, patience, and wisdom for the future. And that's something many successful people learn early in life.
Let me give you a very simple example. Imagine you earn $10 and you spend it all on candy, games, and soda. And at first it feels fun, but later in the week you need to buy something important, like school supplies, and you have no money left, and you feel regret and stress. But now imagine a different version. You earn the same $10, but you save $5 and only spend $5, and you think about your choices before spending, and then when something important comes, you're ready, and you don't feel stress or panic. And that small difference of just thinking before spending creates a powerful sense of control in your life, because you are not a slave to money. You are the master of it. And that feeling gives you confidence, peace, and freedom. And even though the amount is small, the lesson is big. Because when you learn this with $10, you are ready to handle 100, 1,000, or even more one day.
And I think one of the best habits you can build for this pillar is what we call conscious spending, which means spending money only after thinking about it carefully. Asking yourself, do I really need this? Or will this still matter to me next week or next month? Or is there a better use for this money right now? And these simple questions can stop you from wasting your hard-earned money on things that do not really add value to your life. Because in today's world, advertising is everywhere. and companies spend millions of dollars to make you feel like you need to buy more, spend more, and collect more. But the truth is, the happiest people are not the ones who have the most things. They are the ones who have peace, who are not afraid to open their wallet, and who are free from the feeling of always needing more, and that freedom starts with self-control, and that self-control starts with small choices you make every day.
Another great tip is to start keeping a small notebook or digital app where you write down everything you spend, even the smallest things like snacks or transportation, and this simple habit of tracking your spending can open your eyes in a powerful way. Because many times we don't realize how much we are spending on things that don't really matter. And when we see it clearly on paper or on our phone, we can start to make better choices. And over time, we build the discipline to plan, to save, and to invest in things that really help us grow, like education, health, or building a small business. And remember, the goal is not to be cheap or to stop enjoying life. The goal is to use money with wisdom, with purpose, and with control so that it becomes your tool, not your master, because money should serve your goals, not destroy them. And when you understand this, your relationship with money becomes healthy and strong.
And don't forget the power of small savings, because many people think, I don't earn enough to save, or I'll save when I have more money. But the truth is, if you don't save a little now, you won't save a lot later, because saving is not about the amount, it's about the habit. And even if you save just $1 every day or every week, that small action is training your mind to be disciplined, to plan for the future, and to believe in your own ability to build something slowly. And over time, those small savings add up, and they create a safety net that protects you from fear, from debt, and from depending on others. And this is what we call financial independence, which means having enough control over your money that you don't feel stuck, scared, or helpless. And that is one of the greatest feelings in the world. To know that you can take care of yourself and stand strong on your own 2 feet.
Now let's take a moment to talk about one of the most common problems people face when it comes to money, and that is the problem of emotional spending, which means using money not because you need something important, but because you feel sad, stressed, bored, angry, or even just tired. And in that moment, your brain looks for something to make you feel better quickly. And often that something is food, online shopping, or entertainment. And you click the button, swipe the card, or take the cash without thinking carefully, and you feel happy for a short time. But later you feel regret because the problem is still there, and now your money is gone too. And this is why it's so important to understand your feelings before you spend, to take a pause and ask yourself, am I buying this because I really need it, or just because I'm feeling emotional right now? Because if you learn to wait, to breathe, and to find better ways to handle your emotions, like talking to a friend, going for a walk, or writing in a journal, you will start to break the habit of emotional spending and take back your power.
That's such a good point, Adam, because many times people don't realize how emotions control their wallet. And that's why one of the best things we can do for our money is to build awareness. Not just of how we spend, but also why we spend and when we spend. Because knowledge is power, and when you understand your spending patterns, you can start to make small changes that create big results over time. Like choosing to cook at home instead of ordering food every night, or buying clothes only when you truly need them instead of following every new fashion trend. And these small decisions give you a strong sense of control over your life, and they teach you that you are not weak, and you are not a victim of marketing or mood. You are smart, you are capable, and you are building something bigger. And that is what makes your self-control grow stronger every day, just like a muscle that gets more powerful the more you use it.
Another helpful idea is to set clear financial goals for yourself, and not just big goals like, I want to be rich or I want to buy a house, but also small goals like, I want to save $20 this month, or I will not buy snacks from the store for 1 week. Because these small, specific goals give you something to focus on, something to feel proud of, and something to build on. and the feeling of success that comes from reaching even a tiny goal is very powerful. It tells your brain that self-control is worth it, that saving is possible, and that you are moving forward step by step, and over time, those steps turn into a strong path, and that path leads you to freedom, to peace, and to a future where you are not always worried about money because you have built habits, discipline, and a mindset that protects you even in hard times.
Let's also talk about the idea of budgeting, which is a very important skill for anyone who wants to learn self-control with money. And even though the word budget sounds boring or difficult to some people, it is actually a very simple and powerful tool. It just means planning in advance where your money will go, instead of waiting until your money disappears and then asking, where did it all go? And when you create a basic budget, for example, saying I will use 50% of my money for needs like food, bills and transport, 30% for wants like entertainment or gifts, and 20% for saving, then you are giving your money a job and you are telling it what to do instead of letting it run wild and leave you with nothing. And you don't need a perfect budget, just a simple one that you can follow, the follow. And when you follow it for a few weeks, you will see how much calmer and more confident you feel. Because now you are the one in charge. And that is real power.
And finally, we should remember that self-control with money is not just about spending less. It's also about using money wisely, which means investing in your education, in your health, in your skills, and in things that will help you grow and create a better future. Because the best investment is always in yourself. And if you spend money to learn something new, to improve your body, or to build a small business, that money is not wasted. It is working for you, and it is planting seeds that will grow later. And that mindset, thinking long-term instead of short-term, is what makes your self-control stronger and your life better. Because now you are not just surviving from one paycheck to the next, but you are building something meaningful, step by step, with purpose and with patience. And that is what the fourth pillar of self-control is really about. Not fear, not guilt, but freedom. The freedom to make smart choices, to feel safe in your future, and to trust yourself to handle whatever comes next. Now that we've explored the four main pillars, mouth, mind, mood, and money, I think it's time to talk about something very important that connects all of them together, and that is your daily habits. Because even if you understand all the pillars, and even if you want to improve, the truth is that change doesn't happen in one day or 1 week. It happens in the small actions you repeat every single day. And these actions are what we call your habits. And your habits are the real foundation under your self-control, because without strong daily habits, your motivation will rise and fall. Your emotions will pull you in different directions, and you will find it hard to stay consistent. But when you create small, simple routines that support your goals, like waking up early, preparing healthy meals, journaling your thoughts, or reviewing your spending, you are building a system that keeps you strong, even on the days when you don't feel strong.
Yes, and I think that's a key lesson people often forget. That willpower is not something that stays high all the time, and you don't always wake up feeling motivated or confident or full of energy. And that's completely normal. But that's also why habits are so powerful. Because when you don't feel like doing the right thing, your habits still carry you forward, and they become like a track for a train, guiding your actions in the right direction, even when your feelings go up and down. And that's why it's better to focus on building simple, repeatable actions instead of trying to change your whole life in one big step. Because, for example, if you want to have better control of your mood, don't just wait for inspiration. Instead, make a habit of writing down 3 good things every evening, or taking a 5-minute walk in the morning. And over time, these small habits begin to shape your mind and emotions without needing willpower every single time.
And when it comes to money, it's the same story. Self-control with your money becomes easier when you make good financial habits automatic, like putting away a small amount of savings every week, or checking your budget every Sunday night. And in the beginning, These habits might feel small or even boring, but over time they become part of your life, just like brushing your teeth or tying your shoes, and they stop feeling like a big effort because they become normal, and once something becomes normal, it becomes powerful, and that's the secret of self-control. Not doing something big once, but doing something small every day until it becomes part of who you are. And that's why daily habits are not just helpful. They are essential if you want to build a life that is strong, stable, and successful over the long term.
Exactly. And one thing I always tell my students is that your future is being created by what you do today, not by what you hope to do next year, and not by some big dream or plan, but by the small choices you make before breakfast, during lunch, before bed. Those moments are shaping your future self. And if you use those moments wisely, even in simple ways, like speaking kindly to someone, turning off your phone to study, choosing water instead of soda, or saving instead of spending, then you are already practicing self-control in real life. And you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Because consistency builds character. And character is what helps you stand strong when life becomes difficult. And that's why I believe daily habits are not just about discipline. They are about freedom. Because when you build good habits, you no longer have to fight so hard every day. You flow in the direction of your goals naturally.
Now, before we completely close this conversation, Julia, I think there's one more powerful pillar that many people don't talk about enough, but it influences all the other 4 pillars: mouth, mind, mood, and money. And that is the environment you live in, because whether you notice it or not, your surroundings have a deep effect on your behavior, your thoughts, your feelings, and even your choices. So if your home is full of noise, distractions, or negativity, it becomes harder to focus your mind, to control your mood, and to make healthy decisions. But if your environment is peaceful, organized, and full of positive energy, even your self-control becomes stronger without effort, because your surroundings support your goals instead of fighting against them. And that's why creating a good environment, whether it's your room, your workplace, or your social circle, is one of the smartest and strongest things you can do if you truly want to grow.
Yes, and it's important to understand that your environment is not just the furniture around you, but also the people you talk to, the music you listen to, the content you watch, and even the apps on your phone. And all of these things are quietly shaping your thoughts, your mood, and your actions without you even realizing it. So if you are constantly surrounded by people who complain, judge, or waste time, it becomes much harder for you to stay motivated, positive, and focused. But when you are around people who are working hard, learning new things, speaking with kindness, and trying to improve themselves, you naturally begin to grow too, without forcing it. Because energy is contagious, and the good habits of others can lift you up, just like bad habits can pull you down. So choosing your environment wisely is not just a smart decision. It's a powerful way to protect your self-control and your future.
Exactly. And this is why you don't need to wait for everything in your life to be perfect before you begin. You can start changing your environment in small, simple ways, like cleaning your room, turning off unnecessary notifications, spending time with one positive person, or even putting inspiring quotes on your wall. Because when you make these small changes, your space begins to support your focus, your peace, and your personal growth. And then suddenly, self-control doesn't feel like a battle. It feels more natural, more possible, and more enjoyable. And the truth is, you can't always change everything around you right away. But you can control what you allow in, what you choose to focus on, and who you spend your time with. And those small decisions will slowly transform your environment into one that gives you strength instead of stealing it.
And let's not forget, for language learners like you, your environment also includes the English content you listen to, the podcasts you follow, the books you read, and even the people you practice speaking with. So if you fill your space with English sounds, simple stories, and conversations like this one, then your brain starts to accept English as part of your normal life, and it becomes easier to think, speak, and improve without stress. because the environment is doing part of the work for you. And that's the magic of this fifth pillar. When you change your environment, you don't just change where you are, you change who you are becoming.
One of the biggest mistakes people make when they start learning self-control is that they expect fast results and instant change. But the truth is, self-control is like growing a tree. It takes time, care, and consistency. And if you plant a seed today, you cannot expect to see fruit tomorrow. And that's why one of the most important parts of self-control is patience. Because if you want to become a better speaker, thinker, decision maker, or person, you must be willing to wait, to try again, and to stay strong when you don't see progress right away. And that's difficult in today's world where everything is fast. Fast food, fast internet, fast messages. But the things that really matter, like building character, improving your habits, and learning a new language, they take slow, steady effort. And if you understand this, then you won't give up when things feel slow. You'll keep going. And that's where true power begins.
Yes, and I think that's something we all need to remember. Patience is not just about waiting quietly. It's about staying calm, staying kind to yourself, and continuing your journey, even when it's hard, because many people start strong but stop too soon. They want to change their money habits in 1 week, fix their emotions in 1 day, or become fluent in English in 1 month. But when they don't see fast results, they lose hope and they quit. But if they could just wait a little longer, stay consistent, and believe that growth is happening even when it's invisible, then they would eventually see big, beautiful results. Because small actions done again and again, like speaking 1 new word, controlling 1 emotional reaction, or saving 1 small amount, these things may seem slow, but they build strong roots, and over time, they lead to deep, lasting change that is stronger than anything done in a rush.
And here's a tip for everyone listening. Next time you feel like quitting, just pause and ask yourself, what if I just keep going a little longer? Because sometimes just staying in the game a little more, even 1 more day or 1 more try, can make all the difference. And if you keep practicing your English daily, even for 10 minutes, and keep choosing better thoughts, better words, and better actions, even when no one is watching, you are building a version of yourself that is strong, patient, and wise. And that kind of person can handle anything, because life will always bring challenges, distractions, and delays. But if you've trained your patience, your self-control will not break, and you will move forward slowly but powerfully. And that's the kind of success that truly lasts. Now, Julia, one of the biggest confusions people have when they talk about personal growth or self-control is the idea that they always need to feel motivated in order to do the right thing. But the truth is, motivation comes and goes like the weather. It's sometimes strong, sometimes weak, and sometimes completely missing. And if you wait until you feel motivated every time, you may never get started. Or worse, you may quit too easily. But self-control is different because it doesn't depend on how you feel in the moment. It depends on the decision you've already made in your heart and mind. The decision that says, I will do this even if I don't feel like it. And that kind of discipline is the secret to real success, because it works on both good days and bad days, and it helps you stay on track even when motivation is sleeping, tired, or hiding from you.
Yes, and this is where many people get stuck. They wait for motivation like it's a bus that will take them to success, but they don't realize they already have legs, and they can walk with discipline, slowly and steadily, no matter how they feel. Because when you build discipline, you don't just hope to be better, you take steps to be better every day. And those steps can be small, like writing 1 new English word, listening to 1 podcast, or practicing 1 self-control habit. And over time, these little steps become strong habits, and strong habits become powerful results, and that's how you grow. Not with a big explosion of motivation, but with the quiet daily work of discipline. And if you can learn to trust that process, even when it feels boring or hard, then you'll discover that real power isn't loud. It's patient, it's consistent, and it's inside you, waiting to be used.
Exactly. And here's something that helped me, and I think it can help our listeners too. Try to stop asking, "Do I feel like doing this?" and start asking, "Is this the kind of person I want to become?" Because when you choose your actions based on your values and your goals, not your mood, you begin to train your brain to act with purpose, and that's the true meaning of self-control. So don't chase motivation like it's magic. Instead, build discipline like it's a muscle, one repetition at a time. And soon, you'll find that even when motivation is gone, discipline will carry you forward, and that is the strength that turns dreams into results. Julia, let's talk now about something very important that connects everything we've discussed. How small daily habits, when repeated again and again over time, have the power to completely transform your level of self-control, your way of thinking, and even your future. Because most people believe that self-control is something you show only in big situations, like when you are angry or when you want to buy something expensive. But the truth is that real self-control is not built in big moments. It's built quietly, slowly, and strongly through tiny daily decisions, like choosing to go for a walk instead of scrolling your phone, like drinking water instead of soda, or even practicing English for 10 minutes instead of watching random videos. And these small habits may feel weak at first, but just like drops of water can fill a bucket, small habits fill your life with quiet strength, and that strength grows each day you stay consistent, even when no one is watching.
That's so true, Adam. And it reminds me that people often think change must be fast and dramatic, like waking up one day and becoming a completely new person. But the real change, the lasting change, happens when you make a tiny improvement today, and then do it again tomorrow and the next day and the day after that, until one day you look back and realize that you have become more patient, more calm, more focused, and more confident without even noticing the exact moment it happened, because each small habit you practiced was like one small brick, and you were building a strong, beautiful wall without even realizing it. And this is why you should never underestimate your daily choices. Whether it's learning one new English phrase, choosing to pause before you speak, or saying no to one unhealthy snack, because each small win is a silent act of self-control. And if you keep stacking those wins, day after day, they will eventually carry you far beyond what motivation alone could ever do.
Exactly. And one thing I really want all our listeners to understand is this. You don't have to change your whole life in one big decision, because your future is not built in one day. It is built in many small, quiet, patient days, and that's where small habits become your secret superpower, especially when it comes to the 4 big areas we talked about: your mouth, your mind, your mood, and your money. Because if you can train yourself to speak one kind sentence a day, to think one positive thought a day, to calm down one time each day when you feel stressed, or to save a little money instead of spending it, those small acts of control will slowly begin to shape your identity, and suddenly you will find that you are not the same person anymore. You are stronger, wiser, more balanced, and more in control. Control, not because you forced a big change, but because you made a daily promise to yourself, and you kept it, even when it was hard. And that is what real self-control looks like.
And just like with learning English, these small habits are even more powerful when you connect them to something you care about. Because when you know your why, it becomes easier to stay committed to your how. So if you're learning English not just to pass a test, but to get a better job, connect with more people, or travel the world, then practicing every day becomes more meaningful. And that meaning gives you motivation when your energy is low. And it gives you discipline when motivation disappears. And it's the same with all self-control. If you're doing it just to impress people, it won't last. But if you do it because you want to grow, to become stronger, to live with peace and purpose, then even your smallest habits will carry great power, because they are part of your bigger mission. And when your daily actions are connected to your dreams, you are no longer just surviving. You are becoming the best version of yourself, one habit at a time.
So now, as we come to the end of this journey together, I want you to take a deep breath and really think about everything we've talked about today. The way you use your mouth to speak, the thoughts you allow in your mind, the emotions that rise in your mood, the decisions you make with your money, and how all of these are not just separate ideas, but are deeply connected and part of one big picture, which is your life and your future and the person you are becoming every day. Because self-control is not just about saying no to bad things. It is about saying yes to your best self. And each time you practice self-control, even in a small way, like pausing before you speak, waiting before you buy, choosing to calm your mood, or thinking a little more clearly, you are building a version of yourself that is more powerful, more peaceful, and more prepared to face this world with confidence and strength.
Yes, and I hope every listener understands now that you don't need to change your whole life in one night, and you don't need to be perfect or strong all the time or always in control of everything, because we are all learning, we are all growing, and we all make mistakes, and that is okay. Because what matters most is that you keep trying, that you stay awake, that you stay aware, and that you treat yourself kindly while practicing self-control every day, one step at a time, because every day is a new chance. And your habits, your thoughts, your words, your choices, they are all part of the story you are writing with your life. And even if you don't feel powerful yet, even if you're just starting this journey, just know that self-control is not something you are born with. It is something you build. And if you build it with patience and love and honesty, it will carry you through every challenge and lead you to a better, stronger future.
So no matter where you are in your journey, whether you are just starting to learn English or just beginning to think about changing your habits, remember this: you are capable of more than you know, and the strength you are looking for is already inside you, waiting to be used. And every time you say, "I will wait," or "I will think first," or "I will choose better," you are giving that strength a chance to grow, and that is how you build a life of self-respect, peace, and success, one small, smart choice at a time. And here at the English Globe, we believe in you, and we are here to walk with you, speak with you, and grow with you. So keep practicing your English, keep practicing your self-control, and never stop believing that you can become the best version of yourself, because it's already happening. And we are so proud of how far you've come.
Thank you so much for listening, dear friends. We hope this episode has helped you understand more about self-control, about how to improve your daily life, and of course, how to practice English with real meaningful topics, because learning a language is also a kind of self-control. It takes time, effort, and patience, but it brings so much joy and confidence too, and we're honored to be part of your learning journey. Take care of your mouth, your mind, your mood, and your money. And don't forget to smile, be kind, and keep going. You've got this.